Welcome to Become a Conflict Guru, Module 3, Choices. Taking back our personal power is as simple as realizing that everything we do in life is a choice. As Nelson Mandela said, we are the captain of our soul and the masters of our fate. When we realize that everything we do has a choice involved in it, we are the masters of our fate and the captains of our soul. Albert Bandura, the famous behavioral psychologist, said, self-efficacy, the ability to have a say in our own lives, is the #1 focus of mankind. We've all heard people say, I had no choice. The boss made me do it. This was what was expected of me. And yet in every situation, we can make choices to reduce upset and conflicts in our lives depending upon how we handle it. You can choose to avoid conflict, as many people do, deal with it head on, confront it, or to understand what's creating it in order to deal with it in a different way in every situation of your life. This is what we'll be talking about in this module and covering. And a conflict guru makes choices that addresses needs. In the last module, you learned all about needs. I'd like to take you through an exercise that links choice to having your needs met. So in your workbook, turn to the choice exercise. As you look at number 1, you're going to go ahead and fill out what you do in your life that causes you stress or conflict with others. What do you do that you do not experience as a source of fulfillment, playfulness, or enjoyment? List all of those things you tell yourself you have to do, but would rather not. Things in which you perceive that you have no choice and are causing you conflict and stress in your life. So here's a couple examples. Maybe you dread filing and pay your taxes. That's probably something that's on a lot of people's lists. Maybe it's your 1-hour commute to work each day, or coordinating the kids' activities with your ex-husband. Pause the video and contemplate what's bugging you in your life, fill it in, and then start the video and we'll continue this exercise. Now, number 2. After completing the list, consider this. That you are doing these things not because you must or have to, but ultimately because you choose to do them. So what are the underlying needs that doing these things satisfies for you? Using the previous example, paying taxes to the U.S. government meets your needs for contributing to society as a whole, or keeping you out of jail, or not being in trouble with the government. Your lengthy commute gets you to work where you can be creative and participate in the development of something really cool, make money for your own survival and family survival, or a whole host of other needs. And that interaction with your ex-husband provides consistency and structure to your kids' lives, helping them to grow up as productive human beings. Pause the video and contemplate what needs of yours are met by your have-tos. Now for the third part of this exercise. Next, given that you now acknowledge the needs that doing these, quote, have-tos satisfy with you, change the I have to thought to I choose to thinking. Now that you have chosen to do this activity, complete the statement, I choose to blank because I want to blank, as a means to get in touch with your intention behind your choice. Again, going back to my previous examples, I choose to pay my taxes because I want to stay out of trouble and contribute to society. Or, I choose to commute an hour each way to work because I want to be creative and be a part of something I really enjoy and make money, and you can add as many ends in there as you like. Or the other part, I choose to interact with my ex-husband because I want our children to feel loved and cared for. So go ahead and pause the video to reflect on this and write them in to get in touch with the power of your choice, and then start the video up again. Now for the fourth part. Finally, as you consider the statements you have made, you may discover important values behind your choices. If you can begin to see the need that is being served behind your actions and choices, you can begin to experience these choices as fulfilling or more playful, even when at times they involve hard work, challenge, or frustration. I pay my taxes and value democracy. It ain't perfect, but I'll do my part as an American citizen. I commute and value being a part of a team that happens to be an hour away from work. I talk with my ex-husband and value his role in my kids' lives, even though our marriage didn't work out. Values and needs go hand in hand. Values guide you through your daily decisions, while needs are more fundamental and drive your very existence. Spend some time delving into how your values impact your choices, and pause the video to consider this for a while before continuing on. Thank you. Now for the fourth part. Finally, as you consider the statements you have made, you may discover important values behind your choices. If you can begin to see the need that is being served behind your actions and choices, you can begin to experience these choices as fulfilling or more playful, even when at times they involve hard work, challenge, or frustration. I pay my taxes and value democracy. It ain't perfect, but I'll do my part as an American citizen. I commute and value being a part of a team that happens to be an hour away from work. I talk with my ex-husband and value his role in my kids' lives, even though our marriage didn't work out. Values and needs go hand in hand. Values guide you through your daily decisions, while needs are more fundamental and drive your very existence. Spend some time delving into how your values impact your choices, and pause the video to consider this for a while before continuing on. Thank you. The words, "I choose to," is a very powerful statement. This exercise simply confirms what Marshall Rosenberg said, that everything you do is in service of a need. Choosing to identify your own needs with whatever you do helps you get in touch with your own passion and enjoyment in life. By becoming aware that your choices, what you choose to do in any situation, is directly related to meeting your needs and moves you toward meeting that need and away from the aggravation you are feeling in the moment over doing something that isn't satisfying for you in and of itself. The commuting example best literally conveys this. The commute sucks, but the teamwork rocks. Saying "I choose to" can also give you a new level of commitment to your decisions and energy to carry those decisions out. Choosing to do something rather than thinking "I have to do something" is a way of dealing with procrastination and getting you in touch with your passion. It allows you to see that even though the action you have chosen to do, like mow the lawn, may not be the most enjoyable thing to do, it allows you to see that at a deeper level you are meeting a need of yours, like perhaps a more attractive home or looking good in the neighborhood, and it's worth the sacrifice. There is no procrastination if everything you do is a choice. You can choose to do it now or choose to do it later. It's your choice. From this point on, everything in your life concerning your decisions and your actions is a choice that you can make consciously or unconsciously. The rest of this course will give you distinctions that you can use to make the best choices for your life, to live as you want to consciously for connection with others and the results you achieve. The choice is yours. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. This is one of the most powerful quotes I've ever heard, and I've spent hours contemplating the significance of it. It was written by Viktor Frankl, an Australian neurologist and psychiatrist, as well as a Holocaust survivor. He was discussing the observations he made in concentration camps. He saw that those who survived found the power to choose their response to their captivity and horrific treatment, while others could not. He called this ability self-transcendence, because even though these victims had no ability to change their circumstances, they were able to change their response to it and express their freedom of will. I hope none of us have to experience such extreme pain and despair, and I hope we can all find the space between our stimulus, however complex or mundane, and our response to it. When you slow down your reactions enough to find this space, you will now have the freedom to make different choices. A friend and colleague of mine, Deb George, shared this simple visual metaphor for finding the space between the stimulus and your response. Imagine someone has a baseball and they throw it right at you and you allow it to hit your head. Your reaction will be most certainly pain and anger at the person who threw it at you. Or you can catch the ball before it hits your head, look at it, and choose your response of why the ball was thrown at you that way. You have this momentary space between the stimulus and your reaction to choose your response. The choice is up to you. How you choose to react to any situation or person is your choice and will have different results. If you want connection, then choose conscious curiosity. If you want disconnection, then let your reptilian reactions run wild. It's your choice. We will explore these options as we move through this course and see other choices you have. Where focus goes, energy flows. I love the simplicity of this statement. Focus on conflict and you'll spin up the conflict even more. Focus on what you don't like about the relationship with your boss and you'll find more ammunition to support your case. Focus on that jerk at the grocery store and you'll spend the rest of your afternoon thinking of all the things you should have said to put him in his place. In the end, what was the point? Satisfaction that you're right? Putting the blame on someone else so you feel better? What if you focus on respect and connection instead? Focus on how your relationship with your boss could be better. Or focus on how professionally the cashier at the grocery store dealt with the shopper who you thought was being a jerk. As Ralph Waldo Emerson so aptly put, who you become is up to you. The choice is yours and only you can choose to make it. Upsets are going to occur, and here are 3 of the most common causes for them. Unmet expectations. We're all familiar with unmet expectations. Someone didn't do what you expected. Like you thought your coworker was going to update the website yesterday, but she didn't. She didn't think that she was responsible for the update, and now you're going to be in trouble because you're responsible for the project. Thwarted intention upsets results from life disruptions. Like when your coworker really did intend to update the website, but a family emergency came up and she couldn't get it done. Unfortunately, the website users don't care why the site is down and you still look bad. Undelivered communication upsets occur simply from failure to pass along information that others need to know. Like when your coworker knew there was a bug in the website code, but she didn't let you know because she was afraid of your reaction. But remember, where focus goes, energy flows. You can focus on the conflict, or you can focus on preventing similar problems in the future. The choice is yours, and ultimately, you're not alone in this ball game. Hopefully you know that you really can't change others. The only person you have access to change is yourself. It may sound like a cliche, and it's true. You're watching this video trying to improve or learn something to deal with the conflict that you're having with someone else. Do you ever wonder if they're doing the same thing? Perhaps you shared my video with them and they signed up to the course and they're doing the same thing and you'll soon be in harmony. What a happy ending. But what if they aren't? What are you going to do then? Where focus goes, energy flows. If you want to manage these upsets we talked about and build connection, then it's important to have spoken expectations, get clear agreements, establish a shared commitment to improve your relationships, and get better results together, and have consistent follow-through to check in to see how things are going. If you don't do these things, and instead focus on festering the conflict, you'll end up with disconnecting and frustration by unspoken expectations, unclear agreements, lack of commitment to the cause of the relationship, and a lack of follow-through on anything. The choice is yours, but ultimately, you are not alone in this ball game. I'm confident you've known that you can't change others and that you can only change yourself. While this may sound cliche at times, it's true. You're watching this video trying to improve yourself or learn something that will help you deal with a conflict you're having. Do you ever wonder if the person you're having that conflict with is doing the same thing? Hopefully they are, and soon you'll be in harmony. What a happy ending. But what if they aren't? What are you going to do about it? I like to think of challenges in terms of degrees of conflict. Now, I don't mean intensity or ugliness or violence. I mean in terms of how and why the conflict is showing up over time. The tool to address it is CPR, and it is designed to help you identify what conversations to hold when faced with upsets, when it isn't the first time you've had the upset with someone. Make sure you first spoke your expectations and got clear agreements as we talked about in the previous slide. Then, if they don't follow through with their agreement, you talk with them and start with the C in CPR. C stands for commitment. Did they really commit to do whatever they agreed to do, or were they just placating you? This is where you get absolutely clear on what was committed to and if they will follow through on it, or if there are some competency issues they need some help with. Perhaps they didn't speak their expectations of you, and this is where you get really clear about who will do what by when. You can assume some misunderstandings or lack of clarity and start over at this point. P stands for pattern. The issue is now showing up with some frequency, and since you have already had the commitment conversation, you move to a pattern of broken agreements. Try to get to the root of the problem and what's causing this pattern, and then monitor the situation for improvement. Sometimes people are afraid to admit they have competency issues. Now is the time to resolve this. If there's no improvement, then you move to R. R stands for relationship. Relationships are built on trust and respect. Lack of either will erode and destroy a relationship. Now's the time to talk through how the challenge is affecting your relationship. This can be a pivotal conversation. Let me share with you how this concept of CPR played out in my life when I started a new partnership with a friend of mine back in the year 2000. We had just been certified in a particular process, and we were really excited about joining together to make a positive difference out in the world. After about 6 months in our relationship, I started to getting a little frustrated and angry at him because there were 5 agreements he agreed to do but hadn't done them, and one of them was pretty simple, about fixing his voicemail so his partner could leave messages for him. I thought it was a reasonable and rational request. So we talked about C, his commitment, what it meant to both of us. He agreed to follow through and complete on the 5 agreements. I gave him time, and the next month he still hadn't done it, and I said, there's a pattern here. And I dropped down to the next level of pattern. I said, I'm not feeling comfortable with you not following through on our agreements. Would you please break this pattern? He said, absolutely, sure. So I gave him some time, and the next month, guess what? He still hadn't fixed the pattern or broke the pattern. So I felt, I don't want to give him much more time. I had already given him 3 months, and I thought, it's time to talk about our relationship. I couldn't trust him to be his agreements with me. I didn't feel safe in the business we were conducting, and I thought his lack of follow-through was a reflection of his respect for me and the business that we were doing. At that time, I chose to leave the partnership. I let him keep the company, and I went out and started a new one. Our emotions are a great indicator of whether we're in the right conversation or not. If we're talking about a commitment and they keep breaking their commitment and we're getting more and more frustrated and angry, that's the time to move down to the next level of pattern. Can we break the pattern? Do you see there's a pattern here, and can we break it? Will you be willing to do that? And if they agree to and they don't follow the pattern, that's the time to move down another level to relationship. Relationship is all about safety, trust, respect, and competency. Maybe they're not breaking the pattern because they don't have the competency to do such. That's the time to talk about it when we talk about pattern. But if they did have the competency and they're not doing it, now it's time to talk about the relationship. What's the relationship going to be going forward? If you don't feel safe, you can't trust a person, and feel that there's a lack of respect, perhaps now's the time to have a different relationship. That's what I did with my friend and partner. We broke up the partnership, we maintained our friendship, and we still get together from time to time and really appreciate each other. We're just not in partnership with each other. Remember, the key is choose curiosity. It's your choice. Go ahead and refer to your personal challenge. Thinking about the issue you're having with someone, are you running any quote-unquote have-tos? As a conflict guru in training, think of a conflict you're having. Is it because of one of the areas of upsets occurred, like unmet expectations, thwarted intentions, or undelivered communication? If so, go to that person and talk to them about where the upset occurred and put an agreement in place and make sure the agreement works for them as well as you. This is a perfect time to sit down and put these agreements in place so that your lives will work better. Then, if you have the agreement and they don't follow through on it, that's when you go back and use CPR. Do they need to recommit to that? Or is there a pattern of broken commitments that you need to address and talk about breaking the pattern? If there is a pattern and they don't care, perhaps you need to talk about your relationship and what that looks like moving forward. This is about you. It's about your choice. Don't blame, complain, or judge others. if you're not going to them and setting up agreements on the best way to operate. So I'll see you in the next module, which is all about feelings. Oh, feelings. What do we do about feelings, and what's the emotional intelligence on how to deal with feelings? That's what we're going to talk about next time. So I'll see you in the next module.